They say houses have memories. I think they have appetites. The house in Fairburn sat at the end of a buckled road, behind weeds tall enough to hide a body. It was cheaper than every other listing by half. The realtor blamed the foundation, the plumbing, the old wiring, the usual vocabulary people use when they do not want to say cursed. I signed anyway. The first night, I understood why the price had dropped. The place did not feel empty. It felt occupied by something too large for the rooms. Walking through it was like forcing myself into a heavy coat, left out in the rain. Every hallway clung to my shoulders. Every doorway seemed to narrow after I passed through. And beneath everything, there was the thrum. Not a sound exactly, more like pressure. A low vibration behind the walls that settled in my teeth and made my jaw ache. I told myself it was pipes. Then the furnace? Then traffic from a road I could not see? I gave it a new explanation every hour, because the alternative was admitting the house was humming around me. For 3 days, I barely slept. By the fourth, I had started whispering before entering rooms. Not words, just little warnings, like I was afraid to startle something. That afternoon, I found the pantry anomaly. It was behind a shelf of swollen wood where the wallpaper had bubbled outward in a long vertical seam. I pressed it, and the wall gave beneath my fingers, soft as bruised fruit. The paper peeled away with a wet tearing sound. Underneath was not plaster. It was a dark slit packed with black threads, tangled so tightly they looked like roots. Then the smell hit me. Ozone. Mold. Something rotten sealed too long in warmth. Wedged inside the opening was a radio. Not an antique. This thing looked dug up. Its face was crusted with dust and yellow grease. Hairline cracks webbed the speaker cloth. The knobs were filmed with grime so thick they looked grown, not manufactured. I should have left it there. Instead, I reached in. When I touched the dial, it was not plastic. It felt like cold, wet wax. And when I turned it, it did not play music. It played the sound of my childhood bedroom, the exact creak of the floorboards from 20 years ago. I knew that creak. Third board from the window. The one I avoided when sneaking back into bed after nightmares. Then came my mother's voice, muffled through an old door, saying my name the way she used to when she was trying not to sound afraid. I dropped the radio. It did not hit the floor. The cords behind it tightened and pulled it back into place, like tendons flexing. That night, the radio started speaking. At first, it was static, arranged almost like language. Then the words sharpened. 6:14 p.m. You're wondering if you're losing your mind. I froze in the kitchen, one hand on a glass of water. 6:15 p.m. You're wondering if you're actually alone in this house. The glass slipped. It shattered. The radio laughed with my father's cough. After that, I tried to leave. I packed a bag badly, stuffing shirts into it with shaking hands. The whole time, the radio narrated. You forgot your keys. You checked your pocket twice. You are pretending not to hear the breathing. I was hearing it by then. The thrum had changed. It rose and fell in slow intervals, expanding through the studs, the ceiling, the floorboards. The walls were not vibrating anymore. They were breathing. I pressed my ear to the hallway plaster. Something pressed back. A soft inward push, curious and intimate. I laughed then, not because anything was funny, but because my mind reached for a tool and found only laughter. I stood in that hallway in Fairburn, laughing at the wallpaper while the house inhaled around me. The radio whispered from the pantry. It knows you know. I tore at the wall with a kitchen knife. Plaster flaked away. Paint curled. Beneath it, wires pulsed in slick bundles. Red and black and blue. Threaded through the wood like veins. Not copper. Not electrical. Biological. One split open while I watched. Inside, something pale moved with a slow, muscular ripple. That was when the shape of it finally entered my mind. This was not a haunted house. There was no ghost in the walls, no dead family repeating itself, no curse waiting to be broken. The house was the thing. The rooms were organs, the halls were passages, the pantry was a mouth that had learned to mimic memory.